Hi friends, stream of consciousness on Saturn in Pisces, moving into Pisces from Aquarius in March 2023. So to me, the Saturn in Aquarius has felt like really electric and kind of uncomfortable, maybe because I tend towards anxiety. And there's like the 5G thing and like Teslas, I'm not going to say like are good or bad, but just like the more electricity in society and this like feels like more stimulating mental air energy. The Saturn in Pisces feels like relaxing to me. So to excess, that could be depressing, could be releasing, relaxing, letting go, and letting go of structures in our life, letting go of rules that we've played, letting go of how we relate to certain societal structures like a school system or a job or a role in the family even, or whatever our role is socially, in some way releasing that, needing to change it, letting it go, questioning what our responsibilities really are. Things that were once solid, formal contracts that we had in our life, things that we do, things that we know, responsibilities we have, are suddenly coming up for questions or are leaving our life, are dying or fading. More spiritually, the Pisces, Saturn, it's a great time for a mature use of entheogens, psychedelics, spiritual practices, for connecting with a spiritual teacher. And at the same time, though, the shadow of that, the Saturn in Pisces can be confusing. It can kind of be blind faith. It can be feeling the Neptunian unconditional love and projecting that authority onto someone else, saying, you're my guru, and then experiencing disillusionment. Or maybe there's disillusionment with a guru or a teacher or teaching or spiritual practice that you've had in your life. And it can be confusing. It can be like there's a really strong need for discernment with the Saturn in Pisces because of that, like, it's just this, it's like the fog, it's the mist rising off of the ocean. And so it's confusing, it's questioning, it's like unclear. It's sort of like, wait, I thought you were this guru, but you're not. It's sort of like needing reality checks, but when reality, Saturn, has its footing in the mist of the ocean, what is real? And so there could be spiritual breakthroughs too. There could be dreams that challenge you to reframe your understanding of what reality is, or the death of someone you love, or a near-death experience, or somehow tapping into the non-physical reality and finding your footing over there, and then coming back to the physical in some way and needing to integrate. So there's like a big need for integration of the physical and the material. And how are these two things touching on each other? Are they in balance? Are they out of balance? There could be a really strong desire to cultivate spiritual mastery, to meditate all day, to fast, and to do a dry fast, to do a cleanse. And there is the discipline available to do things that are spiritually motivated. But if it's out of balance, then we could forget about the physical body and go too far. Too much psychedelics can bring schizophrenia. It can thin the veil too much and it's like chaos and order. It can kind of break down the order so that we are in a more amorphous, kind of chaotic state. And so, yeah, balance of the 3D limitations of the physical realm with the vast, wide open Piscean infinity. What else? That was a lot. But yeah, really this need for discernment. Have I meditated the right amount? Do I need to meditate more? Am I meditating to the expense of my bank account? And then at the same time, like, okay, I've been in this job for years. I'm ready to loosen up my responsibilities. I'm ready to end it. I'm ready to leave this structure in my life. Have I taken enough plant medicine? Is my perception of the spiritual realm open enough? Am I feeling connected to my divine self, to my inner source of like home beyond home? Or is my footing, if my footing is too much in the physical realm, there might be shocks to that take away, it's kind of like having the rug pulled out from under you, in order to find grounding in a more spiritual home. And if there is already too much of the spiritual, it could be further ungrounding. If there's also like a lot of emotional energy, the water of Pisces, it could be depression, it could be depressing, it could be grieving. And it could be like support groups also. It could be finding connection with others through like letting go and grieving kinds of practices. A great time for hot springs all the time in life, but and baths, but now especially. Also, I'll say that in whenever Scorpio energy is going to be activated over the next 3 years, so like October, November, also in Taurus season, so it's like April, May for the Scorpio full moon, like I feel like this Saturn and Pisces energy is a really great opportunity to tap into your intuitive abilities, to realize that you're psychic, to connect with a psychic, to practice your psychic abilities. Again, we need discernment. When there isn't 3D concrete, tangible, scientific, analytical, this is what this is, definitions of things, it's like, oh, was that a psychic intuition, or am I projecting onto this situation? So like really cultivating discernment, I feel like, is a huge lesson with the Saturn and Pisces. Like what is the balance of physical and material? Like what is real? That could be the question. What is real? Is this reality? Is that reality? Like, I thought I knew what reality was. I took it for granted. I never thought about reality. I just went about my day. And now, like, the question of what is real is, like, in the forefront of my every moment. And am I real? Is what is the, big questions. And reframing of the structure of our life based on, spiritual experiences, or just these questions and the wonder of the vast ocean of existence. A great time, to discover new spiritual practices, change your spiritual practice, to have a falling out with your spirituality in some way, to have kind of this disillusionment, which I already talked about, but sort of like something that you've given your faith to that is now proving itself to be untrustworthy, or not what you thought it was in some way. And so needing to like redefine something that you had your footing in. Saturn, structure, a feeling of stability, security, where our footing is. Pisces, a disillusionment of that in some way. And so a needing to redefine Saturn, or let go of, and just let it be a mystery. Let it be the void. Just let it be a feeling in the body that changes moment to moment, and not needing to know. Because this Neptunian Pisces vast energy is really big for our human minds. It's the big questions of what is existence, what is reality. And so it's kind of like this paradox where the Saturn wants to know, it wants to know what we're doing at 2:00 on Tuesday tomorrow, it's like very concrete and simple like that. And when the Pisces comes along and like melts everything away, it's sort of like, whoa, like time isn't real. It's like the melted clocks, Dolly's melted clocks. And so like here's maybe like a random example of balance. So like I'm Dolly and I paint melted clocks and I like sell them and I make good money doing that. I don't know, was Dolly like only discovered post-mortem? But the example is just like integration of the Saturn, the physical, the need to care for the body. Like, don't forget the body while you're fasting. Don't forget the body while you're meditating, because they support one another, because we are in this body. And if we deny that, then there's sickness until we leave the body. And then I don't know what I'm talking about. I can't say anything beyond that, but maybe I do know. So like a feeling of like reframing reality. The lines of what is real are getting hazy, confusion, uncertainty. The question of trust and belief comes up, and then ultimately like a surrender, a letting go, a needing to come to a new form of, well, the new form will be when Saturn moves into Aries, and that's in 3 years. But for the next 3 years, it's more so about letting go of changing the structure of our phone. So in terms of like a societal level, it could be like the structure of society is changing. I mean, it always is anyway. But just, and it's echoing the Uranus in Taurus, where Taurus is the earth, it's the concrete, it's the financial system. The Uranus comes in and shakes it up, and the Saturn's coming in to Pisces and melting down. And so it could be like things like, I keep saying the school system, just keep like changing, ending, like things like that. Just, like the need for change will be like extremely apparent, and things will like break down because they are deforming, reforming. Anything else? Excellent time to develop a spiritual discipline that is well integrated into your life. To develop practicing following your intuition and see what happens. To practice not knowing what you're doing and just following a feeling of an inner nudge, and practicing discernment. If you find yourself in a situation where things aren't what you thought they were, and you are invested in them, and you have your footing in them, and you have beliefs like footed in there, just flexibility, letting go, like letting that experience expand your perception even further. Watching out for like psychosis, right? Could be like the shadow of that if like your footing in reality gets broken down. And then there's like the suspicion, paranoia, schizophrenia kind of shadow of things, like, wait, I had my footing over there in Saturn, and now Saturn is melted. I thought that Saturn was an earth sign. Now he's melting because he's in Pisces. What happened? Like anyone who has their footing really firmly in the material realm might have a kind of blast off experience that, could go either way, be comfortable or not, but it'll cause people to need to restructure their lives because of the spiritual perception they have, in big ways or subtle ways. It could just be a restructuring of their perception, which is fundamental to our reality. There's probably a lot more than that. I think that's all for now. If this resonated, if you're interested, reach out to me for a reading. You can email me at prismclouds@gmail.com. Check out my website at lucidreflections.weebly.com.